Hi, I'm Mike Huxley and this is the Bemused Backpacker channel. Make sure you stay tuned because I'm going to tell you about the 10 most common gap year mistakes that every backpacker makes and how you can avoid them. Taking a gap year is an amazing adventure and you will have the absolute time of your life having one. But you will make some mistakes as well, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Mistakes are how you learn, how you grow, and it's how you get some awesome travel stories as well. But there are some absolute basic mistakes that everyone makes when they first start out. And I'm going to tell you exactly what those mistakes are and how you can avoid them. Mistake number one is ignoring travel health advice. So many first-time travellers head off on their gap year without getting travel health advice from a professional, or even worse, getting travel health advice and then ignoring it because they think that anti-malarials are too expensive or they think it won't happen to them. The problem is this is opening them up to so many potential health problems at a later date, and I see that happen all the time. Travel health advice is given for a reason, and that's to limit any potential risk down the line. And that's all it is. There are health risks out there, but there are layers of protection that you can give yourself to keep that risk as low as possible. If you can protect yourself from contracting a nasty, if not fatal disease, why would you not do that? And all you have to do is go and see your GP or specialist nurse and listen to their advice. That's it. Now, I advise going at least 6 to 10 weeks before you travel. I'll leave a link to my online travel clinic in the description down below for anyone who needs it. But you need all that time to get any vaccinations you may need, because some of them may be timed weeks apart, or have a tested dose of anti-malarials if you don't know which one will work for you or how it will react with you personally. And then of course you need to listen to any advice that the professional is giving you. Get vaccinated for whatever disease you are at risk of contracting. If you are advised to take anti-malarials, take them. Just get it all sorted early, and then you've got peace of mind and you can go out there and enjoy your travels. Mistake number two is not getting travel insurance. And I still cannot believe that travellers head off on the gap years without insurance. It's such a fundamental mistake. Now I get it, no one likes paying hard-earned money for what is essentially a piece of paper. I don't either, but it is essential. I mean, odds are you'll never need it, and I genuinely hope you don't. But if you do, you will be so glad you have it. Because it's all fun and games until the shit hits the fan and you end up stuck with a medical bill the size of an average mortgage back home. There are no fancy tips or hacks here, just get damn insurance, it's important. Mistake number three is packing too much. This is cardinal sin number one, but everyone does it the first time out, myself included. And you can always spot a first time traveller, and I love the stereotype because it is so true. They arrive somewhere like Khao San Road, all wide-eyed and excited, carrying a pack twice their size, filled to the brim with outfit changes for a year. You don't need all that stuff, trust me. Now, despite what some people say, you don't have to go to the other extreme either and travel for a year with nothing but a passport and a change of underwear. But you definitely won't need as much as you think you will either. And most experienced backpackers make a compromise that suits them. I'll link to my suggested packing list for a general gap year down below. And remember, you can replenish most toiletries on the road and do laundry or buy stuff as you need it. Mistake number four is trying to do too much. This is another basic first time mistake I see almost everyone make, and to some extent I do get it. You're excited about your big trip, excited about seeing and doing everything there is to do. So you plan an ultra tight itinerary of 12-hour sightseeing days every day, and you want to do the whole of Southeast Asia in just 2 weeks. It's not gonna happen. Just slow down a bit, relax. Try and leave at least 1 month minimum for any single country you visit, more for larger countries like India or Mexico. And if you try and do too much, you'll spend most of your time in transit, the rest of your time exhausted, and you'll miss out on most of the stuff you went to see anyway. Remember, you'll never see everything on one trip, and that's what multiple trips are for. If you miss one bit one time, you can always go back. Mistake number 5 is not being flexible enough. And having plans for your gap year is a great idea. It's absolutely necessary, in fact. And of course, there are certain things that you're going to want to do on your travels and certain places that you're going to want to visit. But you have to plan a lot of free time around that as well. You have to leave some empty days in your plan. So when you want to stay longer in a place that you fell in love with, or visit that amazing island that a backpacker you've just met has just told you about. And you'll need a rest day or two as well, for those times when you just want to sit by the beach with a good book, or those times when you will get a little bit sick and you just need some time to yourself to recover. If you have an ultra tight itinerary, you are not going to be able to do that, and it will make things worse for you. And by sticking religiously to an ultra tight itinerary, you'll miss out on all of the spontaneity that makes independent travel so special. Why would you do that? Mistake number 6 is following the crowd. There is no reason at all why you shouldn't follow the backpacker crowds a little bit. I mean, stay in dorm rooms filled with other travellers, visit the famous attractions, spend a night or two relaxing at a backpacker bar and making new friends. That's all awesome. And those sights and those experiences are there for a reason. They are part and parcel of the gap year experience. Go and experience them. But just occasionally move away from that too. Stay in local guest houses away from the backpacker hubs. Move off the beaten track a little bit. Make an effort to meet and chat with locals and take in a more cultural experience. Now, mistake number 7 is not budgeting properly. At some point, many first-time backpackers will run out of money, or at the very least burn through the funds quicker than they thought they would. It happens to almost everyone, and it will probably happen to you too. This is why proper budgeting is so important. And that doesn't just mean having a big lump sum that should last you for the duration of your trip. What about all those extra expenses that you didn't expect? The taxi mafia alone will feature out more than you think they will in many places. Those extra desserts or snacks at a street stall, those extra souvenirs, those visa fees for unplanned side trips. Even buying basic bottled water every day soon adds up, which is why I recommend carrying a refillable water bottle, and I'll leave a link in the description down below to a really good one with a discount code for you. You have to work out a daily budget that covers all of your accommodation, food, drink and potential transport costs, and then have a buffer zone on top of that. If you don't break into that buffer zone, then that's great. You can save it and splurge on an upgrade or an extra activity at some point. And finally, have a good lump sum as an emergency fund as well that'll cover any unexpected costs, such as an emergency flight home or out of a country in case of an emergency. And after all that, you should also have a second backup of credit cards that you can use for an emergency to get back home as well. It's all about layering backup on top of backup and giving yourself that buffer zone to protect yourself. And that leads us on to mistake number 8, not having a good backup plan. Even the best laid plans can go tits up sometimes, and there is always a chance things can go wrong. So you need to have backup plans for when they do. And this is one of the best pieces of travel and safety advice I can give you. You may lose your wallet or purse. You may lose your cards. The ATM may chew up your card, or your bank may still block it, leaving you stranded with no cash. An emergency situation may break out where you are. A lot of things can go wrong. One of the biggest rookie mistakes is not being prepared for these eventualities and not having a series of backup plans. Have an emergency stash of money just in case your cards get lost or stolen. Have all the international phone numbers of your bank written down in a notebook, just the phone numbers, no important information obviously, so you can get in touch with them in an emergency. Know how to get in touch with local police or your embassy, and know where they are as well for extreme situations. And have a small bug out bag filled with all your essentials so you can just grab it in a hurry and get out of there if you need to. And finally, have a plan to get out of the country and back home in a couple of days if something goes really badly. Preparation is everything. And mistake number 9 is thinking you are Bear Grylls. And I don't know what it is, but something about an upcoming gap year gives all first-time backpackers a bad case of survivalist fever and makes them think they have to buy every piece of kit in the outdoor adventure shop. Just put it down. You don't need that all-weather sleeping bag or 5-man tent. You're probably going to be sleeping in hostels. And you don't need a compass or an emergency paracord or ration packs. Just calm down. You aren't heading out alone into the Guatemalan jungle for 6 months. You're heading on a tour of countries with cosmopolitan cities and extensive traveller infrastructure and free Wi-Fi for crying out loud. Just calm down. And that leads into mistake number 10, getting stressed. Independent travel is easy, a lot easier than people think, but it's not always perfect. Things do go wrong from time to time. You'll find that the overnight bus that you've booked isn't in fact an aircon deluxe sleeper. You may even find that it's delayed by several hours while the driver has dinner in his family home he's just parked outside of. That hostel you really like the look of will be full. Things will break down. You may even get a little bit sick. That's just the nature of things, but you can always spot a first-time backpacker by how stressed and angry they get when things go wrong. Just remember that these hiccups are all part of the adventure and are your unique travel stories. I've had things go wrong on the road as well, but you know what? These have become some of my favourite travel stories. It's not an adventure if everything goes smoothly. Just take every experience as it comes and enjoy the fact that you're out there living life. I mean, after all, you could still be back home sat at a checkout counter or a crappy office, right? So that's it guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please hit those thumbs up and subscribe buttons, and if you like what you see and want to support the channel, check out all the good stuff on the website as well, and come and join in the conversation on social media too. Links as always are in the description down below. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next week.